Press V to release notes. Pop-up window. Release notes. Release notes 1.34.16.0. If you are playing on PC, outdated packages in your community folder may have an unexpected impact on the title's performance and behavior. If you suffer from stability issues or long loading times, move your community package S to another folder before relaunching the title. How to install a new update safely. General bug fix. Several crashes have been fixed across the title memory and FPS optimization. For the AAU_02 update, we made a change to allow control of the cursor with all joysticks and not only with gamepad. This change had the unintended consequence of causing the central white dot to display when moving the camera or when using a joystick/mouse at the same time. To address the issue, we've added two new options to allow players to customize the cursor behavior. You can access these new options from Options, General Options, Accessibility.
You never answered my question.
Show the white dot cursor in free look, default equals on, display or hide the central white dot cursor when the camera moves. Allow 2D cursor on all peripherals, default equals off, on will allow to display the 2D gamepad cursor when using other types of peripherals, joysticks, yokes, etc. When set to off, this will be the same behavior as before. AAU_02. Fixed active pause. Now an aircraft velocity and angular velocity are also frozen. Added logbook compression to fix an issue where the logbook stopped recording flights after reaching 16 megabytes limit size.
The load is so cozy.
Fixed an issue where uninstalled standard content would automatically reinstall. The dark line that appears on the horizon in some situations is now less visible. Fixed localization bugs. Marketplace fixed a bug preventing content bought inside the marketplace from appearing in the content manager if this content was part of a non-bought pack. Menu airports can be searched if they have special characters. Fixed main menu tile image for Top Gun Maverick DLC that was extending beyond the tile boundaries. Accessibility screen reader will now correctly narrate the highlighted option within pop-up dialog prompts, e.g. OK, cancel, save, etc. D-pad and keyboard navigation within UI menus will no longer jump unexpectedly to the social panel or tooltips when reaching the final item in a horizontal grid or list. Logbook can now be navigated line by line using either gamepad, D-pad or keyboard. Updated tooltips to better explain how to adjust slider or cyclic options using gamepad or keyboard. Install. Fixed an issue where deleting content on Xbox would delete it on PC too and vice versa. Online fix a bug where the user would not join a group after accepting an invitation through the platform. Fixed a bug where lights and bar were not properly replicated. Navigation/traffic. Fixed a bug where airplanes didn't slow down enough to turn while taxiing. Fixed a bug where airplanes performing a go-around would go in circles forever. Glass cockpits. Garmin G3000/G5000 added support for displaying the wind vector on the navigation map, nearest map and weather map panes. Enabled user control of weather radar gain via the GTC weather radar settings page. Adjusted map and SVT absolute terrain colors to more closely match the real unit. Fixed a bug where the NAV data bar ISA field was displaying ISA temperature instead of Delta ISA. FMS managed Mach speed selections are now rounded to the nearest 0.001 instead of 0.01. Attempting to activate the weather radar while on the ground will now show a confirmation dialog. Tuned autopilot or/LOC intercept behavior to reduce overshoot in most scenarios. Fixed an issue where the autopilot would be inaccurate when flying in external camera view. The navigation map, nearest map and weather map sign selected heading line is now shown in track up mode in addition to heading up mode. The line is also no longer hidden when the selected heading is outside of the range compasses heading boundaries. ADF frequencies below 200 kHz, down to 190.0, are now tunable. Fixed an issue where the FOB sync instructions would still appear on the GTC weight and fuel page if the page was opened after FOB was already set. Fixed multiple issues that could sometimes cause the GTC VNAV page and flight plan text inset not display the correct active VNAV waypoint. G1000Z adjusted map and SVT absolute terrain colors to more closely match the real unit. Fixed a bug where the NAV data bar ISA field was displaying ISA temperature instead of delta ISA. Tuned autopilot /LOC intercept behavior to reduce overshoot in most scenarios. Fixed an issue where the autopilot would be inaccurate when flying in external camera view. The navigation map nearest map and weather map sign selected heading line is now shown in track up mode in addition to heading up mode. The line is also no longer hidden when the selected heading is outside of the range compass's heading boundaries. Fixed the issue where the PFD was not showing the VNAV target altitude. Fixed the issue with waypoint alert flashing after landing or passing DTOs. Fixed multiple issues that could sometimes cause the active VNAV waypoint VSR and VDEV fields on the MFD. The correct values.
Like loading, please
Garmin GNS430W/GNS530W fixed. Aerobotokity L39 pip squeak. Unable to enter values by double-clicking on GNS screen VFR map. Fixed an issue where the VFR map would not show heliport's aircraft general. Fixed camera freeze with joystick top hat Airbus 310-300 fixed. CPT terrain radar buttons tooltip inaccurately displays the current state of the feature. Fixed. Localization not working for ATC_type A310. Fixed. Have a texture mask on right engine.
For flight sim to get
fixed. The FOS windshield wipers are active for a short while in the hangar when switching to or changing liveries. Fixed. Release no testing. A310 fuel burn continuing during pause now. Fixed. 100%. The autopilot bank limit tooltip is reversed, says off when it's on and on when it's off. Fixed. LOD 2 missing textures for both Xbox and MSFS Aviator Club liveries. Fixed. Livery names are not localized in liveries page. Fixed. Functionality backed by SimBrief integration. FMC. Add wind uplink functionality backed by SimBrief integration. CDU. Weight and balance page added under settings for fuel and payload management. VNAV. Added support for step climbs. AP. FLCH mode sets thrust to achieve the target altitude in 125 seconds if possible. CDU, added CRZ CLB and CRZ to page titles to the CRZ page when in those regimes. CDU, added the max angle speed field to the CLB page. CDU, NAV radio accepts manual bore course entry when bore is in manual tuning mode.
Idea. Toothbrushing
CDU,
stream.
An invalid entry message is given when an abeam point cannot be found. CDU, the wind and ref ode fields on takeoff ref page 2 can be auto-populated by pressing the corresponding LSK while the scratch pad
call
is
your
empty.
ISP while on stream and upgrade your garbage internet.
Added support for closed loop checklist items that automatically complete based on the corresponding system states. Checklists. Checklist page will display the first incomplete checklist upon page entry or normal button press. Checklists. Added CHKL incomplete norm cautions for before takeoff approach and landing checklists. Checklists. Added resets page where all checklists can be reset instead of having to reset every checklist individually.
I was wondering if you've thought about a versus Twitch
added
chat
support
bingo.
for overriding
Given the
checklists
chaos
and
with
individual
Parkers, it would
checklist
be
items.
hilarious to see again.
ICAs. Added stab green band warning to advise of incorrect takeoff CG entry. ICAs. Added a step climb alert if the climb has still not been started. 47 ND. Add vor/vorker/app/app performats. 747 systems. Added automatic fuel system management option that will change the fuel system configuration in flight as fuel quantities change in tanks. Defaults to off inhibited on ground. 747 systems. Added insufficient fuel warning if the predicted fuel at the destination goes below the set reserves, or zero if not set. 787 systems. Added insufficient fuel warning if the predicted fuel at the destination goes below the set reserves, or 4,000 pounds if not set. Bug fixes and improvements. AP. Tuned localizer intercept behavior to reduce overshoot in most scenarios.
In the Lethal Company stream.
Ensure FAC can always capture when close to the beam. AP. Fixed an issue where the autopilot would be inaccurate when flying in external camera view. AP. the MCP speed window now opens with current speed when changing from VNAV to another vertical mode.
Ever again.
CDU fixed an issue where a fix info ETA or altitude prediction could not be deleted when the prediction could not be calculated. CDU NAV radio page CRS value is now green instead of white. CDU pressing the CLB or DA page links on the forecast pages will always return you to the VNAV page you came from. CDU more accurate blank versions of the VNAV pages.
I'm listening while I work and I
fix a bug where setting the assumed temp on the takeoff ref page did not set the thrust mode appropriately. CDU climb thrust mode no longer syncs to takeoff thrust mode when re-entering page. CDU
did you know
fixed
that
a bug that might navigate back to the legs page immediately after starting the creation of a hold.
Creating a fully living two-headed
the
dog.
quad/radial field on the hold page parses entries more accurately.
Fun fact,
CDU,
I took
the runway
from
POS
him,
field displays meters when the game unit is metric. CDU, CRZ alt is now properly synced between CDUs. CDU, distances to go now truncate rather than round. CDU, do not show direct to indications in legs page when a direct to is performed internally by other FMS modifications.
On Microsoft Flight Simulator
CDU,
by pressing Windows
vertical
key
track
plus
error
Control
now
plus
blanks
Enter
when
at the same
invalid.
time.
Controls, engaging reverse thrust via the toggle control input should now work more reliably. ICAs, added gas off advisory
Mustard
message.
week? Where's the Doug of the good old
fixed
days?
multiple bugs
We
in
want
auto brake
sorghum wheat.
ICAs alerts. Flight model, slight increase in braking efficiency. FMC, rollout and flare modes now disarm/disengage
Doug,
when the
I
AP
zoned
is
out.
disengaged.
Can you restart the patch notes?
FMC, corrected approach mode engagement/disengagement logic. FMC, fixed a bug where the pre-flight phase was skipped. FMC, fixed a bug where
I'm
fix
about to
info
make
was able
myself
to
a
look
villain,
past the
but you
first
can still say
intersection if
penis in
another
the
fix
chat.
info page
You may want
was
to
used.
auto mod that again before chat knows what they have.
Fix info beam points are now deleted when passed. FMC, fix info no longer looks at legs behind the plane. FMC, when initializing a cruise descent restriction and transition speed limits are deleted if the new cruise altitude is lower than their corresponding ones. FMC, fix info predictions are now available for the active leg. FMC, fixed a bug where approach phase would not activate with flaps 1. FMC, fixed a bug where an altitude intervention in cruise could result in an early descent
I
rather
just
than a
want you
cruise
to know
descent.
that I think it was really brave but
FMS,
controversial of you to release your notes on
where
stream.
value is
Can you defend the
000
decision?
now works MCP, corrected LOC/FAC and app light logic.
Doug is bad at brushing
updated
teeth.
for/app modes. DMECRS frequency/ident to show correct VOR values for VOR are on FOND and to show correct ILS values when in app or app per mode PFD. The VNAV
I'm
speed
actually
band
a
is now
blind
not
watcher
shown
and I
during
use a
approach
screen
phase.
reader on my computer trying to do some work.
Fixed issues with
This is
thrust
really confusing.
calculations that
Please
could
turn
lead
it
to
off or
erroneous
I will have to
CLV1 and
close
2
the stream.
values VNAV.
I am not joking.
Fixed a bug where the auto descent would not occur if the MCP altitude was adjusted closer than 10 nautical miles from T/D. VNAV, the thrust/drag
Will
required
these release
messages
notes
now
be on
occur
the
at the
test?
correct speeds in approach phase. VNAV, the top of the speed band is now VMO/MMO, 11 knots rather than 16 knots. VNAV, fixed various issues
This is
causing the
actually the
descent path to
content
not
I
be
subscribed
calculated
for.
correctly
Bravo.
when modifying VNAV parameters after sequencing T/D. Sim, Chase Cam HUD Chi and selected altitude are now showing accurate data. FMC, CLB
Doug,
thrust
got
limit
to
is
say
now
as my
retained in
first
cruise
stream
and
this is
selected
living up
when
to the
climbing.
hype.
FMC, selecting a new approach while flying an approach procedure should no longer break the approach speeds in the new approach. CDU, clearing a CDU message now clears it on all CDUs. SYS, fixed issue where landing altitude message appears when in auto. 747 AP, thrust hold mode now activates at 70 knots during takeoff. 747 AP, the bank angle limit used while in HDG cell mode now properly follows the selected bank angle limit selected on the MCP. 747 AP, fixed auto bank limit to be max of 25 instead of 30. 747 CDU, DIR and now work on the right CDU. 747 CDU, fixed for tuning data on the right CDU. 747 ICAs, fixed a bug where the fuel speed config warning would be shown immediately after takeoff before the fuel system automatically switched the configuration.
Doug, I hope you didn't rinse with water after brushing your teeth.
Flaps display now hidden when starting C&D. 747 FMC, the FMC speed target is now always the current maneuvering speed in approach
Doug,
phase.
Just woke up at 3 AM to watch your stream for the first time, hopefully will be a good one.
Where changing or removing a procedure containing the active flight plan leg would cause the active leg's flight path to change unexpectedly. 747 FMC, early descent now reaches the target -1250 fpm descent rate. 747 Synoptics, adjusted fuel synoptics styling. 747 Systems, rate of fuel transfer from reserve to main tanks increased. 747 Systems, fixed fuel imbalance warning text saying fuel imbal. 747 Systems, fixed stab tank warning message condition being reversed. 747 Tooltips, fixed cap/FO air data knob description fixed FO barrow outer knob tooltips. 747 tooltips, fixed auto throttle tooltip value to show on instead of armed if auto throttle is engaged. Updated AP alt knob push tooltip description. 787 CDU, the DIR and a now work when the CDU is on the left or right MFDs. 787 CDU, fixed bore tuning data when the CDU was on the left or right MFD. 787 checklists, added recirculation fans on to pre-flight checklists. 787 FBW, fixed an issue where FBW could snap back to an older trim setting one time upon disengaging autopilot. 787
Hey Doug, there's a stream I want to nominate for worst stream of the year, but there's unfortunately no VOD. It's just before the GTA Chaos mod video where your computer can't handle the game at all and then you spill an entire would love if I could submit it.
787 PFD, changed barrow setting alert background. 87 PFD/HUD, played as L even with no AP or FD engaged. 787 tooltips, updated AP
hey, since
alt
you have
knob
nothing
push
better
tooltip
to do,
description.
could you try to say the letter M without touching your lips?
SYS, fixed an issue where high cabin alt mode would appear in the wrong conditions. Cessna 208B Grand Caravan fixed radio panel and ADF interactions. Cessna Citation CJ4 fixed passenger cabin lights not working. Cessna Citation CJ4/WT21 FMC, added the route request feature that allows to uplink a route from SimBrief. You'll find this feature via IDX-route menu on the FMC. FMC, new USR settings menu found on the index page 2 that provides various options. CJ4, ground power can now be toggled on/off when available via the USR settings menu. CJ4, passenger cabin lights have been added which can be controlled via the USR settings menu. FMC, the electrical system and more sensible display of DIS, charging current of the battery. CJ4, fixed seatbelt/safety chimes not always working. AP, tuned autopilot for/LOC scenarios. Cessna Citation Longitude fixed throttle lever Foley sounds sometimes playing incorrectly. The autopilot selected airspeed reference in man speed mode is now limited to between 80 kT to 324 kT or M0.20 to M0.84. The weather radar will now fail if power is removed from the right main bus. Pressing the HDG knob while HDG mode is active will now cause the selected heading to automatically sync with airplane heading until the airplane stops turning or the HDG knob is manually turned. Pressing the HDG knob while an autopilot/flight director NAV mode is active, FMS for LOCBC, will now toggle HDG sync mode.
Feed me cat gets
Fixed an
stuck
issue
in
where
tree.
for a short
Firefighters
period,
try to get
1
cat
second,
down.
after
Firefighters
closing
get
a
stuck
pop-up
in tree.
open from the
Cat eats
GTC
firefighters.
CNS bar, it was impossible to interact with anything on the GTC screen.
Sniff
Curtis
sniff the
JN4
fat
Jenny
cup.
fixed.
Doug,
Unable
are you
to
telling
spawn
me
with
that
default or
64
custom
billion
amount of
spiders
fuel.
aren't conga lining into
Fixed.
people's mouths
Abrupt
in a
color
year?
change during transition from LOD 4 LOD 5. Fixed. Checklist is auto-completing during evaluation mode. Fixed.
The average is brought up by
radio,
Australia.
tunes
They lay
active
eggs in
instead
our
of
mouths that
standby
hatch into
frequency.
thousands of tiny
Fixed.
funnel web
Left
spiders.
and right quick views. Fixed. Localization forward tank is not localized in neither languages for weight and balance option.
Hey Doug, just
Fixed.
wanted to thank you
Added
for your
hanger
content.
description in Turkish and Korean. Dair DBM 930. The autopilot selected airspeed reference is now limited to between 80 kT to 265 kT or M0.20 to
Hey Doug,
M0.69.
I went to your show on Wednesday and I
The
had a
weather
great
radar
time.
will now fail
Thank
if
you for
power is
entertaining
removed
us
from
both
bus
online
two.
and offline.
Adjusted the power draw of the weather radar. Power draw remains low while the radar is off or in standby
Hey Doug,
and increases
this is
when
my
it is
first
actively
stream.
scanning.
I can't believe I've been
Pressing
missing
the
this beautiful
HDG knob
content.
while HDG
10 out
mode
of
is
10, this
active
is
will
well
now
worth
cause the
the money.
selected heading to automatically sync with airplane heading until the airplane stops turning or the HDG knob is manually turned. Fixed an issue where the EISNG gauge could report slightly inaccurate values. Diamond DV20 fixed, unable to enter values by double-clicking on GNS screen. DG1001E fixed, pink textures on some instruments in external view. Douglas DC3 fixed, black textures can be seen inside the cockpit. Fixed, open/light seams found in cockpit. Fixed, beacon switch is not labeled. Users had trouble identifying/recognizing it, enhanced package only. Fixed, enhanced cockpit textures are backwards, enhanced package only. Fixed, overlapping words on the warning labels inside the cabin and on the rear cabin door. Fixed, co-pilot yoke is tilted. Fixed, cockpit model, nose rivets UV map stretched. Fixed, bad texture mapping on APU card. Grumman G21 Goose fixed, control yoke center section clips though floorboard when yoke is moved forward or backward. For interaction. Fixed, manual fuel pump has no sound for interaction or function.
I think I'm getting an anxiety
Fixed.
attack from the sheer
Tooltip
amount
for
of stuff
revised
going
main
on.
fuel valve
This
selector.
is somehow the best worst
Fixed.
stream.
EFB screen flickering.
A beautiful mess.
Fixed, some instruments in cockpit are not localized in Turkish. Fixed,
Can
some
you add a
instruments
number on
in
screen
cockpit
to
are not
indicate how
localized
many
in Korean.
TTS messages are backed
Fixed,
up?
language not localized in weight and balance option. Fixed, fuel tank value not localized in selected languages. Fixed,
If the
ESMX
patch
flap
notes finish
/PTOE
before the
and associated
download, you could
description
always
is not
start
localized
reading
in
them yourself
checklist.
in a dramatic voice.
Fixed, livery names are not localized in liveries page. Fixed, added hangar description in Turkish. H4
Hi
Hercules
Doug, you
Spruce
should
Goose
do a
fixed.
total graphics
All 8
Pictionary
engines are
stream.
now supported. Fixed, added an undercarriage has been added in hangar mode. Fixed, added tugboat. Fixed, added water friction. Fixed,
Hey
added
Doug,
throttle
while this is
transfer from
loading, how
pilot to
about you?
engineer.
I'd brush your teeth?
Fixed,
Maybe
added
do
throttle
it correctly
friction.
this time?
Fixed, added hangar description and tooltips in Turkish and Korean. Fixed, some art issues have been fixed in the
It
cockpit.
may just be a loading screen,
Robin
but
Cap
it's still
10 fixed,
better than
unable to
watching
enter
you struggle
values
to
by
play
double-clicking
platformer
on
games.
GNS screen. Ryan NYP Spirit of St. Louis fixed, added hangar description and tooltips in Turkish and Korean. Wright Flyer fixed, added hangar description and tooltips in Turkish and Korean. World D. Ervili Island, NZ, missing from the launch is now displayed in the sim. Fixed visual issues on water in photogrammetry sites on Xbox fixed, Burj Khalifa, Poi collision. Airport fixed, KJFK John F. Kennedy Airport, added missing building collision at KJFK Airport. Fixed, KDFW Dallas Fort Worth Airport, added missing buildings airport perimeter. Fixed, EIDL Donegal Airport, fuel truck ground service does not properly connect to the aircraft. Fixed, KSEA Seattle Tacoma Airport, terrain cracks. World Update 2, USA fixed, water
This is the
below and
first
around
stream I've
Rainbow
watched
Bridge has
actually.
tiling lod popping and a stretched texture. Fixed, polygons on top of Poi Yosemite Park. World Update 3, UK and Ireland fixed. Coastline displays open
Can you add
scene near
number on
British
screen
Airways
to indicate how much
I-360 in flight.
TTS are backed up?
World Update 4, France and Benelux fixed. EHRD Rotterdam Airport, duplicate taxiway signs. Fixed. Trocadero Poi had dem data generating
DougDoug
into the
fucking
bespoke
sucks.
asset.
He can't brush his teeth
Fixed.
as well as
Light
our
on
board
point
Doug.
auxiliary cannons lighthouse Poi has strange behaviors when having a certain distance away from the Poi. Fixed. There are buildings seen clipping into the Westerkerk Poi.
Gotta say this is definitely an
Justice
amazing
Brussels
first
is missing
stream.
collision for the center tower. Fixed. Paletta Justice Antwerp is missing collision for the entire Poi. Fixed. Textures for walking railings only show on one side at the Allianz Riviera Poi. Fixed. Chateau de Pierrefonds bespoke asset does not appear until the player is very close to the Poi. Fixed. Paletta Papes is missing collision on the south side of the Poi. Fixed. France City update causes terrain to cover the bottom part of Stade de la Beaujoire Poi. Fixed. Lac de Cap de Long has water covering parts of the bespoke model. World Update 5, Nordics fixed. Viking Stadion SR Bank Poi is missing collision on the side buildings. Fixed. Goldfagel Narina Poi does not appear until relatively close to the Poi. Fixed. Goldfagel Narina
Hey
field
Doug,
slash
can you
pitch
ask
log pops
Squex why he didn't
consistently.
feed me?
World Update 6, Dock fixed. LSZR Alten Rhine St. Gallen, duplicate taxiway signs. World Update 8, Iberia fixed. There is major log popping scene at Camp Nou. Fixed. Major log popping occurs at the Santa Catarina Market Poi. Fixed. The 516 Arauca Portugal Poi is missing collision in the wires. Fixed. There is an invisible hitbox in the middle of the Villarreal Bridge. Fixed. There is sea fighting present at the Torre Vasco da Gama Poi. Fixed. The Marriott Hotel sign is reversed
Doug, I
and
love
clipping
this
into the building.
Microsoft Flight Sim download
Fixed.
speedrun.
Plaza de
Anyway,
España
try
in
tree
Seville Poi is
simulator.
missing collision on some portions of the roof. Is missing collision on the beams on the stop of the stadium. Fixed. AI traffic can be seen in areas near the El Capricho Villa Poi they should not be. Fixed. Vegetation can be seen clipping into the Alamillo Bridge Poi. World
Try
Update 9,
antimicrobial
Italy
toothpaste.
and Malta
My gums
fixed.
stopped bleeding
Tin
all the
spike
time
located
after I
next to
started
Allianz
using it.
Stadium Poi. Fixed. Terrain spike in water near Reggio di Calabria. Fixed. Area 31
Doug,
Dem has
the
terrain
two-headed
spikes
dog
at
thing is true.
40.8887 14.3047.
I took inspiration
World
from him,
Update 10,
and now I have a
USA
two-headed
fixed.
penis. Wanna see?
Vegetation can be seen clipping into the Pinawa Dam Provincial Heritage Park Poi.
Hey
Fixed.
Doug, this is
Terrain
giving me a
displays log
headache.
pop around
Could you turn
Skydance
up the
Bridge.
volume?
World Update 11, Canada fixed. Polygon/water issues near Samuel de Champlain Bridge Poi. Fixed. Entirety of the Regina Legislature
Since
building is
Ludwig
sunk a few
coming
feet
back
into
to
the
Twitch,
ground.
you have to make sure
World
you do the
Update
stream
12,
over there
New
soon,
Zealand
so
fixed.
people will join
Remove
thinking they
duplicate
get to
windsock
see the
in
first stream of
NZGS
him
World
back,
Update
but
13,
it's just you.
Oceania and Antarctica fixed. Adjusted position of AYGF Airport marker
Hey Doug,
fixed.
great work
Adjusted
stream.
position of
By the
AYLK
way, why would
Airport
a
marker
blind
fixed.
person play a flight
Adjusted log
simulator?
behavior of NTTB Airport buildings fixed. Excluded palm tree near RW17 end of PHKO Airport fixed. Removed aircraft tail
Hey,
section
Doug,
baked into
This is the
orthoimage near
first time I've managed to catch a
RW35 of
stream.
PHKO
I have an
Airport
important
fixed.
exam on Friday,
Incorrect
and
runway
need some
headings
help
and
in
start
remembering how
position
to
of
calculate
PHKO
logarithmic
Airport fixed.
equations. Think log with
Reduced
bases other
elevation
than 10.
steps
Do
introduced
you
by the
have
new
any
high-res
advice?
stem for Hawaii of
I saw what you
PHKO
and
Airport
Schlot
World
did back in
Update 14.
99. Your
Central
secret is
Eastern
not
Europe
safe.
fixed. Several buildings at Pruhonis Castle are partially buried under the terrain. Fixed. There is a fountain floating above the ground near the Litomissol Castle Poi.
I'm glad to
Fixed.
finally find
Dem
some
buildings
original
are
and
seen
unique
clipping into
content.
the Estergom Basilica Poi. Fixed. Krasna Horka Castle Poi is missing collision on the floor. Fixed. Parts of the Ziglajet Castle Poi are floating above the terrain.
Having
Fixed.
this be
Hill
someone's
displays
first
next
stream
to the
after
Jest
watching Doug on
television
YouTube
tower.
has to be like going to
Fixed.
Disney and seeing
Led
one
Nice
of the
Valdez
princesses
Cultural
smoking a
Landscape name
cigarette
fixed
in the
to Led
parking
Nice
lot.
Castle. Fixed. Open scene displays on bespoke rocks next to the Jest television tower. Fixed. Porer Lighthouse name fixed to Lighthouse of Porer. Fixed. Stary Masleniki name fixed to Maslenica Bridge.
Because a lot of
Fixed.
people keep asking.
Trotsky Castle
Yes,
name fixed to
many
Trotsky
people with
State
blindness
Castle.
play games.
Fixed.
Many of us see objects
St.
but
Nicholas's
not words,
Fortress
and
name
there are
fixed to
all
St.
kinds of
Nicholas Fortress.
accessibility tools to make
Fixed.
it doable.
Terrain
I write
around
a
the
blog
Tata
about
Castle
gaming
Poi
and
lot
programming
pops.
with blindness. If you're
Fixed.
interested, I can email
Proponus
you.
Castle Poi has clipping vegetation. 40th Anniversary Edition / Sim Update 11 fixed. VHHX Hong Kong Kai Tak Airport, fixed an
just
open
got here
hangar
and
that
you're
the
gonna
user
end
cannot
now?
taxi inside. GOTY fixed. EDDP Leipzig Halle Airport, jetways do not line up properly with terminal building. Fixed. EDDP Leipzig Halle Airport,
The
missing
reason
all arrivals
7.5K
departures.
people watching you rather
Peripherals
than other
news supported
streams is we
devices
wouldn't
added
be
support
watching
for
you.
the Honeycomb Alpha Flight Controls Pro on PC and Xbox added support for the Yaman Arrow on PC. Known issue, the Yaman Arrow cannot be used to interact with
Hey
switches,
Doug,
knobs
have
and
you ever
instruments
played the
within
game
the
Luna,
cockpit.
Silver Star Story?
This will be fixed in
Banner
a
of a
future
game that
update.
came out when you still
Known
lived here
issue,
30
the
years ago.
default mapping for the Yaman Arrow has bindings mapped to joystick POV2, which is not present on the controller and will be fixed in a future
Hey
update.
Doug, I'm a
To
YouTube
work
regular
around
and
this,
this is my
please
first
duplicate the
time
default
catching
mapping
stream.
and remap
This is the
instances of
content I'm
POV2
after.
to the D-pad.
Thanks for your hard work.
e.g. joystick POV2 right should be changed to joystick button 17. New presets added: a general aviation
Doug,
preset
there's
for
a
the
YouTuber
thrust
who
master
taught a
Airbus
monkey how to
quadrant.
play a
Various peripheral
simplified
fixes
game of
fixed yoke
Minecraft.
behavior
Can you
after
hook us
suspend
up to battle with
MSFS
the
on
monkey in an
Xbox
epic video
SDK
game?
added
Taught
Yozi
me.
intake
He has
density
played with
mixture
other
density
YouTubers
tabus double
before.
mixture lever toratiotable mixture ratio ingeni
Hey Doug,
table use
since my car
volumetric
is old,
fuel
it
flow
doesn't
and
do
movement
Bluetooth
volumetrize
audio, so I
efficiency
want to get
parameters
some
to
music
piston
on
engine
CDs.
CFG to address turbo mixture and fuel flow issues. Added
need
support for
some
helicopter engine
recommendations.
trim control
Maybe
via
Imagine
RPN
Dragons?
code. K for details.
Imagine by
Added
John.
a way to communicate
Speaking
between
of the
JS
game
and
Luna,
WASM.
it has some really
A
good
coherent
music.
listener
Magic
for Java
Weapon
and the
Dash is quite
COM-bus
a banger
API
itself.
for WASM. Slow mode cannot be activated anymore through SimConnect or JS when playing an activity. Fixed changing runway number not updating runway taxi paths. Blender plugin added to
idea,
core
in the
SDK.
clips
Fixed
video,
GDI
of
plus
editor
fill path
include
filling
you,
the
but
Wola
no
frame
audio
buffer
of you and
instead
it's
of
a
the
Luka
provided
view
path.
brushing your
Fixed
teeth
crash
the
when
whole
opening
video.
debug sim forces user lights debug. Fixed light emitter permitted range SDK. Fixed an issue where a JS
Hey
nearest
Doug, can
airport
you
search
keep it
session
down? I'm
would never
trying to read / this is
return
not a
teleports.
joke.
Fixed WASM debugger extension which might cause crashes if it is used in a C# context dev mode. Fixed typos in CFD debug window. Fixed potential corruption upon saving a project that uses
Doug,
special
first time
characters
here.
packages
Did you
and
know that
publishing
human
groups.
meat is rich
Metadata
in
directories
proteins?
are now deleted upon using the clean all command. Fixed the behavior of the remove buttons in the asset groups section of the package inspector. Added a meaningful warning message instead of a misleading error message when
Hey Doug, what the
an
hell is
empty file
happening?
name is given
Worst
as an
funny
extra
stream
file.
of all
Fixed
time
package
long.
building issues
Less
when
than
using
3.
path names with special characters. Fast WASM compilation option has been renamed to WASM debug mode. Fixed incorrect console position in dev mode. Default layout. Fixed
Hey Doug,
material editor
normally I
crash
would be
when
spending
opening
these
several
bits to
time
clown on
projects
you,
with material
because you're an
libraries.
easy
Lights are not
target.
removed in
Like,
scenery editor
really
when
easy.
switching to a
But I
non-lighted type.
genuinely hope
SimConnect
you've been doing
Jetway
good
API has
recently.
been fixed.
Love your streams,
TBH should now
even
have
this one.
correct values if it error occurred while listing Jetway. The wrong one will be ignored. SimConnect_enumerate controllers has been added. Using this function it is now possible to have more information about hardware devices. SimConnect add facility data definition filter and SimConnect clear all facility data definition filters have been added. Using those functions it is now possible to add filter to the NAV data API in order to reduce the number of messages sent by the server requesting some data. Using the NAV data API shouldn't freeze the sim anymore. SimConnect execute actions. SimConnect enumerate input events. SimConnect get input event. SimConnect set input event. SimConnect subscribe input event. SimConnect unsubscribe input event and SimConnect_enumerate input event params have been added to handle input events using SimConnect. See documentation for more information. SimBars fixed rotor
Doug,
lateral
it is
trim
bold
set
of you
and
to
rotor
assume that
longitudinal
random
trim
people
set
actually
events.
watch your
Now
channel.
they can also take negative value. Added a new SimBar to detect that every water ballast valve in the aircraft is open. SimBar Watcher fixed SimBar Watcher writing to user SimObject instead
Hey
of
Doug,
selected one
if you want
aircraft
the
editor.
viewership
Added
to go
missing
up
engine
even more,
underscore
you
type
should start
value. Added
coding.
gas
That
parameter in
seems to
radio
the
section.
trick.
Added new engine parameters. Added loading section in aircraft.cfg. Changed N1 to shafter cable from 5 to 10. Made display size adaptable to system scale. Removed obsolete parameters. Made gizmo window match current parameter unit. Fixed Spring list type parameters fixed power absorb parameter WASM added a VFX API in WASM to spawn and control visual effects. Some error messages were missing when a WASM module becomes dirty. Rapid.json has been integrated to the SDK to simplify WASM.js communication. You can leave feedback on various topics here. https://forums.flightsimulator.com. Below are 1 buttons. 1. OK.